Good evening, SVS members and guests, and welcome to the first of two annual business meetings planned for 2021. As you know, this meeting is occurring 2 weeks after the original scheduled VAM was to be held in San Diego, California. We moved the VAM to August this year to give us a better chance to have a live meeting. More on that later. The first business meeting was planned as a virtual meeting in June, so the SVS election and leadership succession could stay on schedule and allow all elected and succeeding officers to have their full June to June terms. I therefore call this business meeting to order. The focus for today is to take care of some of the Society's traditional annual business items and, of course, to announce the results of the recent election and proceed with leadership succession. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Secretary of the Society for Vascular Surgery, Dr. Amy Reed, for the Secretary's report. Dr. Reed, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Dalman. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to address our membership this evening. I will cover three main topics tonight: the results of our bylaw referendum, a brief membership update, and a brief membership communication update. In addition to the election for the next SVS Vice President, the ballot also included a bylaw referendum with 3 proposed bylaw changes. You can see them described on this slide. The election was held between May 17th and 24th, and a total of 611 votes were cast. Of those, 90% voted in favor of the bylaw changes, so I'm pleased to report that these were adopted with a very strong majority. Thank you to those members who took the time to vote, and I encourage all eligible SVS members to exercise their voice and engage in electronic voting in the next SVS election. On to the membership update. I'd like to extend a warm thank you to our membership committee chair, Dr. Afshin Mulkera, for the hard work he's done this past year. I would also like to thank Emily Milks, who provides staff support for the membership committee and processes all of these new applications for SVS membership. 145 new SVS members were approved in 2020 and 50 in Q1 of 2021. The membership committee fully vets all of these applications, then forwards the recommendations on to the executive board for final approval. Over the next 4 slides, we're going to slowly advance and scan so that you can see the names of the new members. On this first slide, there's a lot of names here, which is great to see. These are all of the active members approved in 2020. So you see them there listed alphabetically, and we're so pleased to have these new active vascular surgeon members in our midst. On the next slide, you'll see these are the affiliate physician assistants and affiliate nurses who were approved in 2020. And the next slide includes our associate and international members who were approved in 2020. Finally, these are the approved active affiliate and international members in the first quarter of 2021. We're always interested, of course, in the demographics of our membership. And for this group of new members, I find it really interesting to see and proud to say that we're on our road to improving diversity and inclusion and equity. We see this in this new SVS member demographic that 33% were female and 66% male, compared to the current total SVS membership, which is 80% male and 20% female. With regard to age, 41% of the new members are in their 30s, 51% in their 40s. So this makes 92% of our new members between the ages of 30 and 50. With regard to ethnicity, 56 new members were Caucasian, 23% Asian, 6% Hispanic, and 2% Black. This is compared to the total SVS current membership, which is 71% Caucasian, 14% Asian, 6% Hispanic, and 2% Black. We always have more work to do, but I feel like we're on the right road to improving our DEI. As you can see from this graphic, SVS membership has been steadily growing. About 1/3 of the membership of the SVS are active voting members. 1/3 of our membership is actual candidate members, and these are physicians who are early in their career or training and those that we strongly encourage to become active voting members. The remaining third of the SVS membership are retired, international, or affiliate members. As you can see from the next slide, active membership is leveling off somewhat, but you'll see in that the candidate membership, which is the line in green, is continuing to grow. We really would like to ensure and promote these individuals to become eligible active members. And for any of you who have new partners or know of where your fellows are going, I would encourage you to all ask them to convert their candidate membership to an active membership. You'll also see a significant spike in the growth from our affiliate nurses and physician assistants. We certainly appreciate their interest and support of the SVS and are happy to welcome them to the SVS family. As a special SVS 75th anniversary goal, our membership committee has taken on the challenge of making sure that 90% of eligible board certified vascular surgeons are SVS members by June 2022. Again, if you have colleagues that are not SVS members, please reach out to them and have them join the SVS. Next, we'll take a look of membership by state. Here you see, not surprisingly, California, New York, Texas, Pennsylvania, and Florida lead the way with the largest membership. From a regional distribution standpoint, we see the South leading the way at 35%, the Northeast at 26%, the Midwest with 20%, and the West with 19%. Finally, I would like to take a moment for us to remember those in our vascular surgery family that we have lost this last year. We are especially saddened by the recent loss of vascular surgeon and chief and cherished colleague, Dr. Robin Maxada. Please join me in observing a moment of silence and reflection for friends and colleagues we have lost this year. Thank you. As the SVS continues to grow and flourish, we have much more to communicate to members and many more vehicles through which to communicate. An SVS Communications Committee was formed at Dr. Dalman's direction to coordinate communication. SVS Connect remains very popular. Our social media footprint is getting larger, and we have expanded our communication vehicles through audible bleeding, vascular specialist, and the SVS town halls. I just want to remind all members that we're only as strong as our society of members who are informed and actively engaged. So please stay current with whatever vehicle of communication is suitable for you, but please continue to participate in whatever form is best for you. As you can see, we have 4,641 active total users of SVS Connect, which is actually quite impressive when you consider that our membership is 6,300. The email subscription rate is 84.4%, and an open rate is over 30%, which is quite good considering industry standards are somewhere about half of that. Our SVS members are continuing to use Connect on their mobile devices. In early 2021, the social media subcommittee created a universal hashtag for SVS called #VascSurge. And this has helped create an identifiable footprint for vascular surgery and the SVS in social media. These are the major social media sites where SVS has a presence. As you can see, they are all very healthy and have a strong community of followers. Facebook appears to be leveling off, not surprisingly, while Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn are continuing to grow. One of the reasons social media is rising is that SVS is hosting tweet chat sessions hosted by the social media subcommittee, and strong work by Dr. Merrill Logan leading the social media subcommittee. Also in 2021, the SVS completed its integration of audible bleeding into the SVS communication network, which has added great value and reach. Our flagship monthly magazine, Vascular Specialist, led by Dr. Mal Sheehan, continues to grow in its reach to the vascular community. Our last two town halls of the year and current series are coming up in July and August, and I would encourage all of you to join in. Finally, one of the biggest projects we are undertaking this year is a complete redesign of the SVS website. The website will be getting a big boost in efficiency, look, and feel. And much of this work is being led by our subcommittee on website redesign by Dr. Paul Chrysostomo. It's an amazingly complex task, as you'd imagine, and we'd hope to launch the website later this fall, so watch for that. This concludes the Secretary's report. Thank you for the support of the SVS, and please remain engaged. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you for allowing me to be your secretary for this past year. Dr. Dalman, back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed, for that comprehensive report, and thank you for everything you've done for the behalf of the SVS this year, kind of bringing the role of the secretary into the modern era and really dramatically upgrading our communications capabilities with the membership. I'm now pleased to introduce Dr. Keith Calagero, Treasurer of the Society for Vascular Surgery, for his report. Dr. Calagero, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks, Ron. I will be providing a brief update on SVS finances for the year that just closed and make a few comments about the year ahead, fiscal year 21 through 22. The major takeaway for the SVS membership is that the Society has come through the COVID challenges in very strong shape and is well positioned to move forward without losing any ground. We owe a great debt to our staff who responded to every emergency and opportunity. Ever since the VAM had to be relocated from Toronto due to SARS 10 years ago, the staff had the foresight to purchase insurance for the VAM in case we encountered another SARS-like event or natural disaster. Thanks to the VAM insurance coverage that the SVS has, the margin contribution that VAM contributes to the Society was preserved. Now, the staff also applied for and received PPP funding, which allowed the Society to retain its professional staff without interruption. I am pleased to say we were able to hold onto every staff position and not lose any ground. If we lose staff, we lose ability to support programs. Finally, we cut expenses and took advantage of some new revenue opportunities. All of this combined to put SVS in a strong position as we begin to emerge from the pandemic. The rest of these slides tell the same story, but in pictures. So as you can see, all asset lines are moving in a positive direction. We have weathered the storm and are in strong position in terms of cash, liquidity, and reserves. Increase in reserves is primarily due to market recovery after a market low in fiscal year 20. Here's additional detail in overall growth in total assets year over year. You can also see the growth in composition by entity. Now, net assets are the total assets minus the SVS liabilities. The net assets reflect the equity in the organization and is also increasing over time, similar to total assets, which is very healthy. We were able to get through the challenges without taking on debt or adding to liabilities. So here are the unaudited results of fiscal year 21. The Society weathered the challenges of fiscal year 21, producing a consolidated net operating income of $2.5 million, as you can see on the left of the screen. In the original modified COVID budget, we were hoping for zero margin budget or to minimize loss by 3 to 5%. We ended up with a positive margin of 19%, much due to strong investment performance, expense cuts, and the measures I addressed earlier. Now, while there were some challenges with revenue due to COVID, on an overall basis, revenue performance was still very strong. As previously mentioned, there was strong revenue performance with membership dues, royalties, and PSO-related activities. While we did experience a decrease in VAM-related revenue last year, you can see that this was offset by expense management and insurance recovery. This is the revenue breakdown by domain. We continue to have strong revenue diversification, which acts as a protective shield for the SVS. The expenses cover a wide range of strategic initiatives and infrastructure. Finally, we are currently in the first quarter of fiscal year 22, in overall budget revenues of $14 million and operating margin of 1.4%. We are closely monitoring key fiscal year 21 performance drivers that could impact fiscal year 22. This completes my report, Dr. Dalman, and I'm happy to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Keith. I know I speak on behalf of the membership when we are grateful for your careful stewardship of the finances of the SVS. And I think we're all very impressed with how well the organization has come through the pandemic, ready to continue to pursue the mission that our members expect from us in terms of advocacy and membership support. Okay, now it's on to my report. I'll have much more to say about the SVS in my presidential year at the VAM in a couple of months, so I'll be very brief here. I want to take the opportunity to thank my colleagues and leadership for their service in my year as president and focus on how, despite a year like no other, to use this year's cliche, SVS stayed focused on our top member priorities. First, I want to thank the SVS Executive Board for their extraordinary dedication and commitment this year. We had to meet much more frequently, make quick pivotal decisions, and the EB rose to every occasion. And I would like to commend every member of the Executive Board for their dedication to the mission of the SVS this year. I want to give special thanks to Drs. Hodgson and Eagleton, who are completing their terms of service on the Executive Board. You can see on the slide in front of you that the member names in purple are those elected at the annual business meeting, and in green, those appointed by SVS bylaws. Okay. My thanks to those who served on the strategic board of the Society, and special thanks to those members who are completing their terms on the strategic board. Those include Drs. Rabi Chair, Larry Kreis, Edith Singh, Kent McKenzie, Linda Harris, Andy Shanzer, and Roy Fujitani. I would also like to welcome the new strategic board and welcome several members into their new roles, including Linda Harris, Tom Forbes, Raul Guzman, April Boyd, Palma Shaw, Patricia Fury, Ahmed Abu Zamzam, and Keith Ozaki. This table shows all the committees and task forces in the SVS and how they are organized into each of the 5 councils. The 5 councils align with the 5 key domains of the SVS strategic plan. The last column lists the committees that have oversight by the executive board, as they are part of the SVS governance, member value, or business elements. I extend my thanks to all the SVS members that led councils, committees, sections, and task forces this year. Again, special thanks are to those who are completing their terms: Drs. Rabi Chair, Matt Eagleton, Megan Tracy, Karen Wu, Gail Tang, Larry Kreis, Jeff Syracuse, Edith Singh, Luke Brewster, Bill Brown, and Joe Mills. And I welcome the incoming group of council and committee leaders for 21-22. Those include new chairs Linda Harris, Will Robinson, Sean Leyden, Evan Lipschitz, Shipra Arya, Tom Forbes, Jessica Simons, Raul Guzman, Catherine Gallagher, Ravi Rajani, and Ben Pierce. In the November-December timeframe of this past year, 750 members helped us rank order our strategic priorities, and the SBOD developed specific objectives for each priority. During the COVID year, great progress was made on every one of these top member priorities. Advocacy and branding were exceedingly active areas of focus this past year, as I'm sure most of the membership is aware. As you know, through our partnership in the Surgical Care Coalition, we're able to defray a 10% projected reimbursement reduction for surgical work codes. We had a record fundraising year for the PAC. Thousands of letters were submitted to Congress on behalf of our membership. And of course, Dr. Zwolak was appointed to lead the RUC CPT committee, which is to our great advantage in vascular surgery. The branding toolkit came out last fall. Hundreds of our members have integrated elements of the branding toolkit into their own practice. This remains a benefit, very accessible to members through our webpage. We encourage you to download and use these resources as you see fit within your practice. Quality and practice delivery remain the epicenter of SVS mission and focus. We're on track to produce our first AUC in claudication this fall. VCVQI program, which you'll hear much more about at the actual meeting in August, is on track to launch further sites in fall of 2021. SVS established a new QI committee. 4 new clinical practice guidelines were published and distributed this year, with many more on the launch pad. And we've had continued strong growth of the PSO VQI. In terms of vascular care delivery models, the practice survey, I believe, is still open. I encourage everyone to participate in it if they haven't already. We'll have the results of that from the VAM. We initiated outreach to the ACC, SCI, and SIR regarding minimum training requirements in vascular surgery. And we've developed a population health task force to help us understand how we can move from the volume to value reimbursement framework for healthcare. Next slide, please. In terms of education, we launched the Learning Management System, which is a tremendous online resource for SVS members and vascular surgeons at all stages of their career. We successfully pivoted to a virtual VAM this last June, which met many of the educational needs of our members during the challenges of the pandemic. We have moved forward with this year's in-person VAM with a virtual component for those of us who cannot attend, but we have some really encouraging news in that regard. We launched the Ask the Experts webinar series. We're planning to have a hands-on PVD course at our headquarters in Rosemont, Illinois this coming February. And we graduated the first cohort of the SVS Leadership Development Program, and the second cohort educational curriculum is well underway. As you know, in diversity, equity, inclusion, this has been a very active year for us. The task force completed its recommendations, was transitioned to a committee under new leadership. We've had representatives from the committee join the appointments and communications committees. The Journal of Vascular Surgery family of publications added a new editor for DEI responsibilities. There's a supplement focusing on DEI coming out in the journal this summer. And a statement on DEI has been incorporated into our bylaws. Next slide, please. In terms of alignment to top priorities, the SVS strengthened its focus on community and outpatient practice, as well as solutions to the primary triggers of physician burnout. The Community Practice Committee transitioned to a section to have more leverage within the SVS. That incorporated the existing OBL section. There will be separate section meetings at the VAM in August. Community Practice Service Awards were established, and an outpatient component has been added to the VCVQI program. In terms of wellness, we've established and are launching the first of its kind vascular surgical coaching wellness program, which is going to launch this fall. And we have a town hall coming up this July focusing on where we are in our efforts on wellness on behalf of the membership. Next slide, please. As you know, we've been active in terms of integrating health technology into individual surgeons' practices, as well as the resources of the SVS. We've completed phase 1 of the clinical trial of the supervised exercise therapy app. We're launching phase 2. We're exploring the future of telemedicine, artificial intelligence applications to vascular surgical practice with Congress and large provider and payer groups. And we're exploring the next evolution of simulation education to preserve open surgical skills. And I want to remind everyone that we had a lot of focus this year on vascular society relations. We've signed and completed MOUs with all the regional societies as well as the national vascular societies, including the American Venous Forum. And we have established ongoing dialogue with our colleagues at the American College of Surgeons, the American College of Cardiology, SIR, and STS. In fact, we just had a leadership call yesterday with the American College of Cardiology. Next slide, please. Finally, let me close with a special plea and a request for you to join us in person in San Diego. California opened to essentially no restrictions as of yesterday, and we are dedicated at the SVS to keeping you safe. It's time for us to come back together as a family and a community and celebrate our 75th anniversary as a society. I can also assure you that as of this week, in fact, yesterday, we're within 5% of our registration for the meeting in 2019 at a similar time prior to the meeting, with already 400 professional registrants for the meeting. And we hope to see you all in San Diego in 2 months. Next slide, please. So as you can all understand, this was not the year any of us envisioned for the SVS, but we have to play the hand with the cards that were dealt. Thanks to an incredible effort by our members and leaders and a great professional staff, we've made tremendous progress on your behalf at the SVS. While the year is not what I expected or any of us did, I'm quite confident it was truly a privilege and honor to steer us through these rocky seas. This concludes my president's report. Much more to come in August. It's now my honor to turn the floor over to past President Clem Darling, Chair of the 2021 Nominating Committee. Clem?
Thank you very much, President Dalman. Thank you for, it's been a pleasure to be the president of the nomination committee, and I want to present the slate of SVS officers for 2021. The singular role of the SVS nominating committee is to select candidates to place on the ballot for each vacant officer position. This year, unfortunately, there was only one vacancy to fill, the position of vice president. There was an open call for nominations that went out on February 1st, and nominations came to the nominating committee from members at large, self-nominations, and from the nominations committee itself. The nominating committee is comprised of 7 members and 1 liaison. The composition includes the 3 most immediate past presidents of the SVS, an at-large member of the SVS membership, a member selected by the SVS Strategic Board, and vice president of the Community Practice Section. The chair of the SVS Leadership Development Committee, and a liaison from the SVS Young Surgeons Committee. I am pleased to note that for the first time in SVS history, the nominating committee was comprised of 50% female members. I want to thank all the members for their hard work this year. The work of the nominating committee is to review and further improve the nominations and selection process each year, select 2 candidates for each vacancy as required by our bylaws, report the deliberations of the membership, which I did during the May 17th town hall, and then oversee the election and report the results when concluded, which is occurring this evening. To remind everyone, these are the eligibility criteria for nominations to be considered for the SVS officer position. We also make sure all potential nominees are aware of the substantial time commitment and accept all the responsibilities. We also have developed a set of desired leadership criteria we share with potential nominees and that the nomination committee uses to discuss and filter nominees. 23 nominees were received this year, of which 12 completed their full nominations, all of which were outstanding, and we could serve well in the level of leadership in the SVS. We thank all of the nominees and encourage each of them to continue to aspire to lead the SVS. We look forward to having every person apply that feels they're appropriate, and we will always look at the application appropriately and with vigor. On May 17th, I introduced to you our selected candidates for Vice President, Joe Mills and Bill Schutz. The SVS election was held on May 17th through the 24th. Notices were sent 1 or 2 times daily throughout all the SVS media, encouraging membership to vote. In doing so, a total of 611 votes were cast compared to 482 in 2020. So that's a 25% increase. But I know we can do much better, and I still believe at a minimum of 1,000 members should be voting for these elections. This change was made in order to provide a voice and engagement of all voting members, rather than those who could just attend the live business meeting. So I hope in the future, more members will take advantage of the opportunity to have their vote heard. This is extremely important for the future of our society, and I hope you all vote in the future. Having reviewed the results of the election, I'm now very pleased to announce that the candidate selected for your 2021 SVF Vice President was Joe Mills. Bill Schutz, on behalf of the nominating committee, I want to convey that you are an outstanding in every way, a true role model for leadership in our society, and I sincerely hope you will continue to, in both your lead in the SVS and aspire to lead the SVS in the future. President Dalman, it is now my honor to present the following slate of officers for 2021 to 2022 via election and automatic bylaw succession. The great Ali AbuRahma as president, Mike Dalsing as president-elect, Joe Mills as vice president, Amy Reed as secretary, Keith Calagero as treasurer, and Ron Dalman as immediate past president. This concludes my report. So back to you, President Dalman.
Thank you, Clem, for everything you've done for the SVS throughout your career, and particularly in this regard, really inspired leadership of the nominating committee. This is clearly one of the most difficult and challenging jobs of the SVS, and we're all very appreciative of the effort you put into this. Congratulations, Joe Mills. And to Bill, I want to say you're an inspirational role model for us all. Please keep leading and joining our efforts to improve the society. I want to also congratulate Mike, Amy, and Keith for their continuing roles on the executive board. It is now my privilege and honor to hand over the virtual gavel to my colleague, Dr. Ali AbuRahma, to carry on the duties of the president of the SVS. The SVS is in very strong shape and thriving despite the challenges of the past year. And I know, Ali, you will work tirelessly to lead us out of this COVID era and on to our next phase of productivity and achievement. Thank you for your support and encouragement throughout this year, Ali, Mike, and all the other members of the EB. Ali, the floor is yours for any remaining comment and to bring the meeting to the close, and thank everyone for attending tonight's virtual business meeting.
Thank you, Ron. And I'm extremely honored and humbled to serve as the president of the society for this coming year. I will do my utmost for all membership, regardless of their background, and also to advance our society and our specialty, hopefully better and better during this coming year. I do not really want to finish this meeting without thanking our president on an outstanding job he have done in navigating the SVS ship, sailing into the right direction without flipping over. It's understandable during this pandemic and during this crisis we're going through. Thank you, Ron, and in behalf of the executive board, all of us appreciate what you have done during this tough year. Now, without emphasizing what Dr. Dalman already said, I plead to you, please, please, please come and join us into the annual meeting in San Diego. It is the 75 years, and I think that ought to be more than just special, but very special for Dr. Dalman and all of us. I think we're going to find great scientific program, and I'm sure all of you, like myself, miss seeing each other in person, which we have been actually looking forward for quite some time. Again, thank you very much. And without any further business items, I would like to declare the meeting to be adjourned.